This week we discuss Metzora, which means the leper. The word appears in the second verse of the reading, which says, "This shall be the law of the leper in the days of his cleansing." Leviticus 14 spells out the complex purification rituals for the cleansing of a leper, or more so, the cleansing of one with tazo'arat. And then in Leviticus 15, we briefly covered the laws of ritual uncleanliness from bodily emissions. Let's get started. Elohim said to Moshe, "This is to be the law concerning the persons afflicted with tazo'arat on the day of his purification. He is to be brought to the Kohen, the physician, and the Kohen is to go outside the camp and examine him there. If he sees that the tazo'arat sores have been healed in the afflicted person, then the Kohen will order that 2 living clean birds be taken for the one to be purified, along with the cedar wood, scarlet yarn, and hyssop leaves." There was a process for one to go through if they were identified as having tazo'arat. Just as today there is a process that one has to go through if one is caught gossiping, lying, or committing any other sin that would lead them to be unholy in the presence of Elohim. If you are caught in sin, or if someone you know is caught in sin, often they are ostracized by the people. While you may not see it as the same, let me discuss it this way. The other day, someone was found to have illicit material on their cell phone. The person was a leader amongst the people. They were a leader in the congregation. And when the person was showing this illicit material to the members of the congregation, even though the person was a leader, they were put out of the group. Was this punishment justified? Was the correct action taken? Comment below and let me know. Or should this person have been left to serve, even though they were found with tazo'arat? Verse 33 continues, Elohim said to Moshe and Aaron, "When you have entered into the land of Canaan, which I am giving you as possession, and I put an infection of tazo'arat in a house in the land you possess, then the owner of the house is to come and tell the Kohen." It seems to me that there may be an infection in the house. The Kohen is to order the house emptied before he goes in to inspect the infection, so that everything in the house won't be made unclean. Afterwards, the Kohen is to enter and inspect the house. This is related to clearing out an area because it's infected. This clearly states that the infection came from Elohim. He put the infection on the person to allow the person to think about their actions. He put the infection in their house. He put the infection in their life to make them think about where they were going wrong. At what point do we identify that everything is in the control of Elohim? When must it be identified that Elohim created all, and therefore knows all, knows our hearts, our actions, our minds, can lead us to wealth, can lead us to poverty, can lead us in the direction of His will, can lead you to a job, can lead you to an opportunity, can lead you in the direction you need to go. If you truly trust in Elohim, if you truly believe He is guiding your life, then what do you need to concern yourself with? Or do you need to concern yourself with tazo'arat? Leviticus 15 reads, "And Elohim said to Moshe and Aaron, tell the people of Israel, when any man has a discharge from his body, the discharge is unclean. The discharge is unclean no matter whether it continues to flow or it is stopped. This is still his uncleanliness. Every bed in which the person with the discharge lies is unclean, and everything he sits on is unclean." Let's go to the Hebrew. The Hebrew states, "And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, speak to the sons of Yisrael, and you will say to them, each man that exists with an issuing of a discharge from his flesh, he is dirty, for this will be his dirtiness with his discharge. His flesh flowed out with his discharge on his flesh. he was sealed with his discharge. She is his dirtiness. Every lying place where he lies upon with this issue will be dirty, and every utensil which he settles upon is dirty. What's interesting is discharge in English is zuv in Hebrew. We can assume that this is a physical abnormality because later it discusses a seminal discharge directly. This is something that's going on when someone has an ever-flowing discharge coming from them, and there's a process they must go through to be clean. This is similar to the discharge that takes place in verse 19, where it says, if a woman has a discharge, and the discharge from her body is blood, she will be in her state of nidah for 7 days. Whoever touches her is unclean until evening. There's a process for being unclean. There's a process that one has to go through if they are unclean. Though we seek cleanliness and holiness, if Hashem is putting us through a process, maybe we need to think. If Hashem is putting the world through a process, maybe we need to think and be conscious of that. Think about the process you're going through right now. Think about the process that Elohim is putting you through. Is it a process to make you clean? Is it a process to make you holy? Is it a process to make your mind holy, your spirit holy, your whole self holy before Him? Comment below and we can discuss this.